The J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
From the misinformation of traditional Hispanic media to the rise of wow culture, one voice cuts through all the noise. Isisela. Javier Negre brings you real stories, real fighters, and the truth that the elites don't want you to hear. This is the program Right New, and it starts right now on Real America's Voice.
Welcome to a new edition of Right News Show.
We are here in Bahrain. I am Javier Negre, owner of La Derecha Diario and UHN Plus, and we are in Bahrain because it is very important for you to know that things are happening in the Middle East. And it is a friendly country to the United States, and many things are happening. Ties are being strengthened. The United States sent a special envoy, Paolo Sampoli, to make strategic relations. We were with the king, we were with the prince. We also saw how the United States is strengthening relations with Uzbekistan, and we, as always, on the front line with America's Voice and the Right News Show, the program most hated by the Kurds. We tell you the truths that the left-wing media hides, who use the search operation to attack, to tell us that the guys being taken down by the ICE police are good people, and then it turns out they are actually street terrorists. Our first guest today to talk about many topics affecting the Hispanic community is undoubtedly Yanis Estrada, director and owner of UHN Plus. And I wanted to welcome you. How are you, Yanis?
What's up? All good.
Well, we already have now because we talk a lot about Venezuela. Many media outlets talk about Venezuela, about the transition. It seems that Maria Leona Machado is also starting to gain weight as a political leader after a public disapproval from Donald Trump, who also considers Delcy Rodriguez a valid interlocutor. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the great Marco Rubio of Cuban origin, was in the American institutions defending that there will be free elections. And I would like to ask Yanis, who has followed the issue of Venezuela very closely, how he sees the situation today.
Well, actually, this week, Marco Rubio had a hearing in the Senate. I was following the entire hearing in the Senate. He gave a lot of explanations, and the hearing was extremely good. Definitely, we share several points in terms of how it had been projected. The administration with regarding the Venezuela issue, and Marco Rubio in this hearing last week on Wednesday exactly cleared up many doubts about what the mission of the United States is in this transition in Venezuela. And he also made it clear, so to speak, that definitely what is wanted is to stabilize the country, not to finance the interim regime, but to have a transition to achieve a democracy with the participation of most of the political factors that exist in the country today.
Of course, what they don't understand, there are many criticisms of the role of the United States with Delcy Rodriguez. What I always say is Americans are transactional. They know she has betrayed Maduro. They know they have betrayed Maduro and handed him over to American justice, and that they are giving everything the United States asks for, which is stability, security, economy. Without the support of these guys, who we obviously don't like, it wouldn't be possible to have a peaceful transition. Don't know if my point of view is shared, because there are Venezuelans who sometimes criticize us for saying, no, why are the Americans collaborating with Delcy Rodriguez? She should be put in jail. Without her, it wouldn't be possible, because they control the entire apparatus, the justice system, PDVSA, the infrastructure, the intelligence services. So the Americans know what they're doing. They don't want, as Trump said, these to turn into an Iraq. If now Maria Leona Machado were given the task to promote free elections, it would be impossible because they control it. So we have to be transactional. Obviously, in all regimes, there have been people who have betrayed their leaders, and I understand that they have reached some kind of deal with Delcy Rodriguez so that she can get away with it and live well in Cuba, Venezuela, or Colombia, wherever she wants, right? But it is a necessary evil. I don't know if you share that assessment, Yanis.
Look, Javier, definitely the Venezuelans have been under a well-orchestrated machinery from Havana for more than 25 years. These people have designed every possible mechanism to cling to power, and the United States knows that. They know because they have studied and followed the situation in Venezuela over all these years, because there has been a learning from mistakes made in the past. And there we have the case of Juan Guaido and all the support the United States gave him to try to overthrow the Maduro regime at the time, something that did not come to fruition and somewhat undermined and demoralized the Venezuelan opposition.
Not only did it not come to fruition, if it did, it ended up in the pocket of Mr. Juan Guaido, who lives a life of luxury in Miami. That is what the Venezuelan opposition does not understand. What I always say is I defend the bravery of Maria Leona Machado, I defend the Venezuelan opposition, but there have been some who have preferred to make a pact with the left and live like a king rather than fight the battle like others are doing on the ground, risking their lives, even losing them or being in prison. And you know that I have criticized Mr. Edmundo Gonzalez a lot, but I don't know what the hell he has to talk about with Pedro Sanchez, with the president of my country who wants to put me in jail, who wants to gag us. And that part of the Venezuelan opposition has the need for Democrats, globalists, for everything. That doesn't suit Maria Corina Machado. Maria Corina Machado has to break away. She has to stop listening to those who tell her she needs the approval of the Democrats. If she wants the approval of the Democrats, she will lose Trump's. If she wants to be the leader of Venezuela, she has to do exactly what Trump and Marco Rubio tell her. And I hope she does, because I really want her to do it.
Look, I don't see it so much as seeking the approval of the Democrats, but rather seeking a more widespread consensus within United States politics. Definitely. And there's one important thing.
If they don't want consensus with the Democrats, if they are calling Trump a murderer. I mean, Trump doesn't want to know anything. So, and the Institute, when they go to Washington, it's very important to know that the climate in Washington, not like 15 years ago, where they understood consensus, all that has changed, right? Yeah, Maria Corina's chief of staff attacking Trump, all those things are not good. So it's very important that Maria Corina keeps doing what she's doing, which she's doing very well. And to all those people who tell her to join the Democrats, they should know they're getting involved with the enemies. And that is a problem. They are on the right track. The Nobel Peace Prize has already been arranged. That's my opinion. And now it has to fly, but under the umbrella of Marco Rubio and Donald Trump. Forget about the Democrats, about Biden, about applauding measures taken by the Democrats, because they have gone against the United States, against military interventions in Venezuela, in Congress and in the Senate. And President Trump did not like that at all. That's what his circle tells me.
Definitely. There is a lot of truth in what you are saying, but also remember that it was mainly the Democrats who were campaigning and trying to sabotage the entire operation in the Caribbean from the beginning, which ended with the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Somehow, and I imagine it is so, I don't have confirmation. I think what Maria Corina Machado is trying to do is tell him, let's work this. This is happening with Trump, and we have to be very thankful. And she has repeated many times that if it weren't for the Trump administration, for Mr. Marco Rubio, this wouldn't have happened.
But then she has to, in some way, get the Democrats in tune as well, because one way or another, they have political weight.
By the way, the Chavista regime has fallen or is in the process of falling. It is being remotely controlled by Washington, the great governor, the star Marco Rubio of Cuban origin. And this week, Fox News already announced that the White House would be considering military actions against Cuba. Let's listen to what they said.
Administración funcionarios ahora están considerando opciones potenciales para presionar por un cambio de régimen dentro de Cuba, al igual que lo hicieron en Venezuela. Eso incluye la opción de imponer un bloqueo naval para cortar completamente las importaciones de petróleo al país. Un portavoz del Departamento de Estado aquí nos dice, cito, Cuba es una nación en decadencia. It is in our national security interest for Cuba, which is 90 miles away from our shores, to be competently run by a democratic government and to refuse to host our adversaries' military and intelligence services. Now, there is no naval blockade in place right now, but that's not stopping Beijing from chiming in to defend their communist comrades. They say, quote, China calls for the immediate lifting of the blockade and sanctions on Cuba. We will continue to support and assist Cuba. The Trump administration is very closely monitoring right now the Cuban economy, which is in free fall.
And the press managed to get these statements from President Trump. Let's listen to him.
Well, we'll see what happens with Cuba. I don't know. Is there anyone here in this room interested in Cuba? Not many people are interested. This is not a room about Cuba, but that's fine. There are many out there, especially in Miami. And Cuba is going to fail very soon. Cuba is really a nation that is on the verge of collapse. About the Poles, you know, they got their money from Venezuela. They got the oil from Venezuela. They don't get it anymore.
You were talking about the Poles before. Clearly you...
Yeah, and what is going to happen in Cuba? Well, the State Department tells me, some sources I have there, that they have a concrete plan for Cuba, which is not precisely to make Marco Rubio the governor. Politically, it could be a title in pectore, but he is not going to be the political governor. He will be directing everything remotely. But what is the option for free elections in Cuba? To remove socialism, communism, all those minds involved with the Plan of Evil, the Sao Paulo Forum, and the entire leftist alliance that has brought the woke culture, that has brought everything transgender, with all the support of globalist businessmen like George Soros and his son, who runs away when I ask him questions.
Javier, look, I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you what will happen with Cuba. I swear, no one more than me would like to know, but definitely the situation with Cuba is on a very good path. First, because the main lifeline that the dictatorship had is no longer there, which is the dictator Nicolás Maduro. Second, the Cubans have been extremely demoralized since the operation on January 3rd. Let's remember that more than 30 Cubans who were Maduro's Praetorian Guard, supposedly the best security in the world, lost their lives and arrived in Cuba in shoeboxes, as could be seen on UHN Plus, where we showed the video.
So the section motto passes, that's on the front. On the other front, we have the internal situation with oil and what's happening with the whole energy issue on the island. The administration is also pressuring the historical partners that the Havana regime has had.
And more recent, well, in fact, Janice, the narco president of Mexico, after pressure from Rubio, at least suspended the fuel supplies of the island, right? That's important. The narco president, whom I keep calling the gum, despite the death threats I receive, because she is.
Exactly. The narco president Scheinbaum, a few days ago, hid behind a supposed autonomy of Pemex to justify the halt in oil shipments from Mexico to the communist island. We already know that this is definitely not this is not an autonomous decision by Pemex. This responds to the pressure being exerted from Washington, and is working thanks to the master plan of Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is not only pressuring, let's say, Mexico on the issue of Delcy in Venezuela is not only pressuring them, but she's pressuring the entire continent. Remember that Cuba has gone from let's say, being in a favorable status with the previous administration, with the Biden administration, which lifted those differences. It already allowed a terrible relaxation with the financing.
We have to go to commercials. Yanis, thank you, Director of UHN Plus. See you soon and follow us on social media, the best media outlet in the United States for the Spanish-speaking public. A big hug, and we are going to commercials, and we'll come back with many more topics that affect the Hispanic community, the Trump administration, and all the countries under the orbit of the new right that reigns with the support of media like the brand new show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the social media. Of course, follow La Derecha Diaria and UHN Plus. We continue.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
With riots and violent looting going on all over the country, I don't feel safe leaving the house without this banana. Normally, I would be worried about this creepy guy, but I've got my banana with me. That same car has been sitting outside my house for a while now. Better keep this banana by the door.
Sounds ridiculous, right? Now imagine this banana was capable of incapacitating an attacker from over 60 feet.
At Berna, we don't sell bananas. Go to Berna.com to learn more.
This is Fubo. It's a better way to watch ESPN and other top sports networks. Plus, get coverage of your local teams all year long. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
President Trump ended the nightmare for almost all January 6 defendants when he delivered on his promise to pardon those who suffered through our two-tiered system of justice. But there are still 12 January 6 defendants whose fights are far from over. These J6ers still face overwhelming legal battles. Scan the QR code now or visit j6support.com to help stand in the gap push for pardons for these patriots. Many have lost their jobs, homes, and life savings due to prolonged incarceration, and even though they've had their sentences commuted, they still cannot vote, possess firearms, receive any military pensions and retirement benefits, obtain health care coverage for themselves and their families, or secure employment. Stand in the Gap is renewing our Justice Restoration Fund to advocate for full pardons for these patriots. Please visit j6support.com or scan the QR code to support our fight for justice for these January 6 defendants. Your gift today helps us partner with reputable attorneys and legal advisors to ensure they have a fair chance at winning their cases and having their rights restored. Please donate today to let these J6ers know that they are not forgotten. Scan the QR code or visit j6support.com to make a tax-deductible donation to our Justice Restoration Fund.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
We return from the break and we are already on the Right News Show, the program most hated by those damn leftists. We continue with the topic of Venezuela, which remains in the eye of the storm because first, Delcy Rodriguez was offended by making an exclusive statement that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave us in Davos. He has had many problems, many tensions, diplomatic crisis because of that interview Bessent gave us, because Delcy Rodriguez doesn't like what she heard from Bessent attacking her, because in theory, the guideline from Washington, what Washington promised Delcy is, we are not going to attack you, we are going to treat you like a good girl who is giving us the oil, giving us everything. Delcy complained. She did so publicly and also privately. Luckily, they do not want to kill the messenger this time. But well, Venezuela is going to be great again. Many entrepreneurs are interested. The Americans are getting the economy to work. Infrastructure is needed. Educational services, social services, everything is needed. And Venezuela is undoubtedly the crown jewel, right? Besides this week, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, appeared before the Senate to testify about operations in Venezuela. And after leaving, he met with the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. To talk about this, we are joined today by Melanio Escobar, a Venezuelan journalist from the YouTube channel Melanio Barra. Melanio, how are you?
Javier, a pleasure. Very, very happy to be here with you.
Let me tell you, Maria Corina Machado, siya is going to be the president of Venezuela. It seems she is steering the situation after some tensions with Trump, who went as far as to publicly disapprove of her. She has met with Marco Rubio. I keep criticizing her, right? That she shouldn't go to the Senate Congress to meet with the Democrats. That's why Trump doesn't like her. And I always try to give her advice that reaches her, right? And I know it does reach her. Sometimes she gets offended, not so much her, but her team. She is a brave woman who believes in freedom of expression.
But tell us, are we going to see her as president?
Look, I am completely convinced that Maria Corina Machado will be the first elected president of Venezuela. This was made very clear when they held the primaries in our country. Moreover, those primaries broke down the wall of that narrative that tries to divide Venezuelans inside Venezuela and Venezuelans outside of Venezuela, because she emerged as the winner both in the internal and external primaries. And evidently, the victory of Edmundo González Urrutia is a result of the great campaign she conducted throughout the country against all the advances of Nicolás Maduro's regime to try to prevent her from reaching the people. With all this movement from the United States, and after what happened on January 3rd and everything Maria Corina Machado has achieved diplomatically in the United States, for me, there is no doubt she is going to be the next president of the republic. And look, I understand a lot sometimes the let's say the doubts about Maria Corina's approaches with the Democrats in Congress, the meetings and the photos. But at the end of the day, Venezuela's struggle is a struggle for human rights. It is a struggle for freedom. It is a struggle for vindication.
It's just that, look, when I criticize the Democrats, let's listen to the senator from Kentucky, Ron Paul, referred to Maduro as a legitimately elected official. And if I remember correctly, Ron Paul was there when Maria Corina went to the Senate. She met with Republican senators, Republican congressmen, and also Democrats. And Ron Paul was on the agenda. I don't know if he was actually there in the end, but he was on the agenda, right? Let's listen to what he said.
It is, and let's vote on these things. But I think we're in violation of both the spirit and the law of the Constitution by bombing a capital, blockading a country, and removing elected officials. And we certainly wouldn't tolerate it, nor would I, if someone did it to us.
So we didn't remove an elected official. We removed someone who was not elected, and it was actually an indicted drug trafficker in the United States, and their system.
Our laws, indicted under our laws. Look, Bolsonaro says that Da Silva is not really the president of Brazil. Our president said Biden wasn't really the president. Hillary Clinton said in 2016 Trump wasn't the president. So you have these arguments, and then I agree with you. It probably was, and most likely was, most assuredly, was a bad election. He wasn't really elected. But at the same time, if that's our predicate and you don't have to come to us because it's a drug bust, we're just removing somebody, you can see where it leads to, and it leads to chaos. And that's why we have rules like the Constitution, so we don't get so far out there that presidents can do whatever they want. It is this check and balance, and I would argue for 70 years we've been going the wrong way. It isn't just this president, but it's a debate that I think is worth having.
Do you know that uncomfortable questions?
Yes, I already know why they went to see Ron Paul, for nothing. But they want to boycott any type of transition. They are with the dictators, with the accomplices of socialism, with the narco-dictators, with the narco-terrorists. And Marco Rubio gives them a blow, and we take our hats off. But what is the point of meeting with Ron Paul, as Maria Corina Machado did, as was planned? Well, this was the appearance.
Javier, I completely agree. The interesting thing is that when there are uncomfortable questions and you have a very good spokesperson, they become a tool to clarify things, both internally and externally. Meeting with them by Maria Corina Machado is a golden opportunity to take away all the arguments they use to defend criminals, drug traffickers, dictators, and mercenaries like Nicolás Maduro. Additionally, it puts them in a, let's say, in a contradiction, right? Will they side with the victims? Will they side with freedom? Will they side with democracy now? Or are they going to keep speaking from the privilege of being a U.S. senator in the comfort of your suit and also analyzing a dictatorship based on what you know from theories, tweets, a YouTube video, and not from direct closeness with the people who have given blood, sweat, and tears to recover the country's democracy? I think it's important to put them in that predicament, right? And also to unmask their intentions of continuing to defend dictators.
So Melanio, Maria Corina, and Rubio are going to have more meetings. You can see there's more rapport, but there are also other candidates, opponents, right? We've seen Eduardo Guitart, supported by a Trump advisor who went to Davos. That is to say, how do you see in the opposition those frictions that are arising from people attacking head-on against Maria Corina? I mean, Roger Stone himself attacking Maria Corina, saying she is a socialist. So how do you see these frictions in the opposition? Just when it seems like we are reaching the end of the tunnel, what I want is for my Venezuelan brothers and sisters, 9 million of the diaspora, to return to their homes, for all of us to invest strongly in Venezuela. And I love Venezuela. I love Venezuelans. They deserve the best of everything.
Look, I've only seen those frictions on Twitter. I believe the Venezuelan people are completely clear about who maintains leadership in the opposition sphere and who has known how to lead, not just lead, because sometimes lead sounds like an abstract word. The one who has been responsible for organizing, mobilizing citizens, giving them hope, Kumea explaining the path, and additionally, while fighting against a dictatorship, moving very well in the diplomatic field, has been not only Maria Corina Machado, but the entire team around her, and even those leaders who competed against her in the primaries have also done their part, not only in the social sphere, no, political and of communities within Venezuela and in the diplomatic sphere outside, but even paying with their freedom, like Juan Pablo Guanipa, for example, like Freddy Superlano, or like Delcy Solorzano in hiding, who after January 3rd have been able to come out to mobilize citizens again. So I haven't really seen a fracture within the opposition beyond the Twitter discussion, which, well, let's say is completely irrelevant to what is being proposed at this moment, when we have Maria Corina coming out of a meeting with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, after having met with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and coming from the Vatican after meeting with the Pope, right?
What is, Melanio, the risk of Delcy and the Rodriguez staying in power? Because it's clear that Trump is delighted with Delcy and Rodriguez. He says she is a magnificent person who is collaborating in everything. Diosdado Cabello, there you have him too. It's clear that they have sold, right? Their soul, right? They have decided to hand over Maduro to save their own skin. But is there any risk that they will remain in power or make a deal with the Americans by handing over all the barrels of oil, and that we finally see free elections, but that they also have their tricks to make them fraudulent, right? Because they have technology, they have the support of Russia, they have the support of China. I mean, no, should we consider them finished?
Look, I don't think they have the support of China and Russia in a way that could jeopardize a path to freedom. And that was demonstrated on January 3rd, that the Russians weren't there, the Chinese weren't there, the Iranians weren't there, the Cubans were. Well, the Cubans were there, but, well, they weren't very effective. They weren't as effective as the Cuban doctors who tried to cure Chavez, right? And we already know how that turned out. They are specialists in buying time, Javier. They are quite clever at extending time and oxygen to find the best conditions for their permanence. In this case, after the hearing, Secretary of State Marco Rubio before the Senate made it very clear to us that he has a well-defined path for how things should be done. And different responses that Marco Rubio gave yesterday in the Senate tell me that between the lines he sent ultimatums and threats to the regime now of Delcy Rodriguez, like they are not releasing political prisoners quickly enough. That seemed to me more like a warning than an accountability report to his colleagues in the Senate. Additionally, it explains that all the money being managed has to be done through projects. So what happens? The best thing that could happen to Chavismo at this moment is for the President of the United States to be harmed in the midterms, for Donald Trump not to be able to continue the presidency, for there to be no Republican continuity in the White House. And that is the only option they have to perpetuate themselves in power. Otherwise, there is no option for them in Venezuela.
They tell me that the deal with the White House, according to Delcy's people, is that they have agreed on 3 years of transition and then free elections. I don't know if it's a long time or not. We'll see. That's the information I have. Hopefully it's sooner. But we're going to commercials. Follow the Right News Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share it because George Soros doesn't like it. Communism doesn't like it. The president of my country, Pedro Sanchez, doesn't like it. He wants to put me in jail. And after the commercials, we're also going to talk about Spain, my beloved land. The conquest comes through America. The king is clueless, Peju is clueless, and we have to defend Trump. Because if Trump doesn't support the opposition candidate, Vox is being smarter, Santiago Abascal, they are going to be knocked out. So we are going to a commercial break, and when we return, we continue on the Right News Show.
America's in a fight for her soul. Our freedoms are under attack. Our values are being torn down. And the same corrupt elites who built this mess think they can silence us. The patriots who still believe in this country. Not a chance. Here at Real America's Voice, we're standing shoulder to shoulder with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, a movement that says we will not be silenced.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
The voice of millions of patriots who refuse to kneel to tyranny. This is the movement of fighters, men and women who still believe in God, family, and the American dream. The conservative alternative to AARP.
Real rights, they come from God.
If you're ready to stand up and join the fight, go to amac.us/RAV right now. That's amac.us/RAV, because this isn't just about politics. It's about saving America. Faith, freedom, America first. AMAC and Real America's Voice, united for the Republic.
When you look at your grocery bill, is it so high it knocks you off your feet? It's time to stand up and save with InstaSeal by Bell & Howell, the world's first vertical vacuum sealing system designed to save you money. Unlike ordinary storage bags that trap air in, spoiling your food, InstaSeal removes the air completely, extending freshness up to 6 times longer. Now that's saving. Look, flat sealers create a big mess, but InstaSeal is upright, mess-free, and easy. The secret is Smart Seal technology. With just one touch, it auto-feeds the bag to seal, pauses to vacuum out the air, then continues to perfectly seal. Plus, InstaSeal has a motor powerful enough to crush cans, but smart enough to save crackers from turning to dust. Forget big, bulky sealers you have to put away. InstaSeal's compact design stays to help you seal and save every day. Got a great deal on chicken, meat, or fish? InstaSeal protects it from freezer burn. Now buy groceries in bulk. Make meals ahead of time. InstaSeal and save. It even works with all universal storage system bags. Buy on sale meats. InstaSeal and save. When you add it all up, InstaSeal will help you seal and save hundreds on your family's grocery bill. Call or go online now and get the complete InstaSeal system that keeps food fresh 6 times longer, with enough storage bags to fill your entire fridge for the special TV discount price of just $99.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. You get it all, an incredible value for one low price. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-308-6802 or go to buyinstaseal.com. So call 1-800-308-6802 or order online at buyinstaseal.com.
Today, my dear, Spain wakes up to news that cannot and should not go unnoticed. The government announces the regularization of more than 600,000 illegal immigrants just before the elections. Not after, not as part of a structural reform. This is not a coincidence. This is a political plan. It is a calculation. The left returns to using mass migration as an electoral tool, as Biden's Americans have done, and that's how the United States is with security problems. And now Trump trying to expel illegal immigrants with our dear ICE agents who they live in horrific situations in Minneapolis where they have to use force to defend themselves. And then when they take down street terrorists, they have to face real storms of crap, criminalizing us and deceiving the Hispanic community through fake news media like Univision, Telemundo, CNN, and Español, and all that garbage. President Sanchez, the head of the government, is tainted by corruption, with his wife under investigation for corruption, his brother under investigation for corruption, his closest circle in prison for alleged corruption cases, for taking money directly, for awarding contracts that lead to disasters like the Adamus train section, which caused more than 40 deaths and which Minister Puente claimed had been renovated. Well, no, it hadn't even been renewed. I mean, socialism is corruption. Socialism kills, and Sanchez wants to defend himself from the backlash. That's why he doesn't call early elections, even though elections are coming in Aragon, where he will suffer a big loss. Andalusia will come too. Castilla-León, he comes from losing Zamadora, and everyone assumes he is finished. But how does he want to perpetuate himself in power? By buying votes, client networks, corrupt businessmen, and also illegal immigrants? More than 600,000. It is a true disgrace. And meanwhile, Felipe VI, the king, is held hostage by Sanchez and attacking our dear President Trump, which is the only solution along with the Spanish opposition, if the PP and Vox understand each other, to oust Sanchez because he is not going to call early elections and the road will still be long. We are with Ruben Pulido, an expert in illegal immigration who suffers threats from all those corrupt NGOs that have used illegal immigration, the Centers for Unaccompanied Minors, to make a business because the left does not see illegal immigration as a humanitarian drama. They use it as a business so that their executives, so that the socialists receive money and finance themselves irregularly as they did with the Brussels, the gay sauna of the father of President Sanchez's wife, Begoña Gomez, who was the accountant of the network of illegal Brussels. And I say it openly because I will repeat it. I have never been sued. I have interviewed the professionals from those brothels and gay saunas who were the ones that enabled part of the funding for the campaign that led Sanchez to become the leader of the Socialist Party and then to win the elections in a tremendously suspicious way. And repeat the elections, winning or adding up against the absence of the opposition, which with fatuous cowardice, the complexes and the demonization that Vox suffers in Spain, well, now the enemies of my country govern the country, they are ruining it, and as is happening in Europe, everything is going down the drain with illegal immigration, a demographic crisis where extremist Muslims have more children than Westerners, and we find ourselves with countries like the United Kingdom, like Sweden, like neighborhoods in Spain, where it is impossible not to think that it is being impoverished by Algeria or the Maghreb.
We are with Ruben Pulido. How are you, Ruben?
Hello, Javier. A pleasure to be with you.
Tell us about Sanchez's secret plan so that before the next elections, which are estimated to be next year, 2027, he can bring in 600,000 illegals who have no rights, who are already receiving social aid while you and I have to fight hard without aid, with persecution, and they want to put us in jail or censor or shut down social networks like Sanchez is doing, right?
Well, here we have to take into account a series of factors. First, that we are talking about more than 500,000 illegal immigrants who can later multiply. We could be talking about potentially almost 1.5 million illegal immigrants. Why do I say almost 1.5 million illegal immigrants? Well, because once these immigrants are regularized, they will be able to apply for family reunification. And we all know the birth rates of many of the countries of origin of this illegal immigration. So what at first might be 500,000, that figure can be multiplied by 2 or 3, and then we're talking about a large mass of population. To them, we also have to add all those who might come as a result of this pool effect. That is to say, what this type of decrease does is to trigger a pull effect. What it does is oxygenate the criminal networks that manage all illegal immigration, and obviously this laxity is being applauded. It is received with great success in all these networks where mafias, traffickers, and those in charge of chartering illegal boats to Spain interact. So be careful what might initially seem like 500,000 could turn into millions. And obviously, as you rightly say, I see many issues here. Why has this decree been made? Why has it been implemented? Well, on one hand, an obvious smokescreen for everything affecting the current executive, the current government. On the other hand, it pleases his partners who were very tense with Pedro Sanchez, and it seemed that the government could fall, or the budgets from a few years ago could not have been renewed or extended, or else having there a client base of future voters. And this is a reality because right now all that illegal immigration is being regularized, and that illegal immigration will be able to become part of a naturalization process. And if the current executive, if Pedro Sanchez is able to make those nationalizations more flexible, then obviously he will gain a large mass of voters who will appreciate this gesture that undermines our border security, fuels a pull effect, and will not bring us anything good in the future.
What are the data? A lot of illegal immigration continues to enter through the Canary Islands, through Almeria, compared to other points in Europe, like Lampedusa, where it seems Meloni is putting her foot down against those NGOs that go to the ports of origin to create the attraction because it is a business for them. They bring them into Spain and it costs the institution. And in the end, we are seeing how Sanchez not only pays for Morocco's infrastructure, the trains, when our trains are in terrible condition, but also pays a lot of money for social subsidies to illegals who fill our hospitals, who fill our universities, who fill our schools. And then you have a party like Santiago Abascal's, which is the only one denouncing it without political calculation and without opportunism, because the People's Party joined later as they are realizing that the concern of the Spanish people is illegal immigration, and especially because they go against our interests, against our values, against our culture. And some of these gangs of unaccompanied minors need to be sent back to their parents. And then they will shut down my channel for inciting hate, which is what happens to Rubu Bey. We have been victims of censorship for denouncing what is happening in the Canary Islands. What are the numbers as of today?
The numbers today are truly alarming. Since Pedro Sanchez has been in power, illegal immigration has not stopped increasing, although there are some year-on-year decreases used as propaganda by the government. When there is a temporary decrease, illegal immigration then skyrockets exponentially. And we are seeing how places like the Canary Islands are currently experiencing great migratory pressure that not only threatens social cohesion and the structures of the islands, but is also causing crime to increase in many parts of the Canary Islands. The same is happening on the mainland. In mainland territory, immigration is increasing exponentially again, especially on that route to the Balearic Islands. As for now, so far this year, the numbers have already tripled compared to last year on that Balearic route. And indeed, as you rightly say, there are countries that are trying to contain that illegal immigration, like Italy. But of course, when illegal immigration is contained in places like Italy, the mafias change their target. And the main target for the illegal immigration mafias at the moment is Spain. If Spain was already a target a few years ago, especially after the reception of a humanitarian ship in the year 2018, the ship Aquarius, then that attraction factor, that objective of Spain as a preferential country for illegal immigration has been strengthening, has been gaining weight. And right now, if we add that massive regularization we talked about earlier, well, imagine, Javier, how this year could end. I believe that this year we are going to suffer a lot. We citizens are going to suffer a lot, as we are the ones who first experience these consequences, but also the state security forces and bodies which have already issued statements warning that this regularization will once again make Spain the main target.
Ruben, quickly, they tell me that express nationalizations are happening through embassies and consulates, Cuba, Venezuela, to overturn the elections and to carry out a diplomatic fraud. I don't know if you have that information. Many immigrants who claim to have grandparents and relatives in Spain are going to vote, and there is no control in Cuba, there is no control in Venezuela. I don't know if you are aware of the issue.
Yeah, I am aware that the large population from those countries of origin you mentioned has also been increasing exponentially. We are not only a sieve by land and sea, but Spain is also currently a sieve at the airport level and is not managing to screen all those flights coming from countries like the ones you mentioned.
And obviously, all that mass of immigration is also going to become a vote.
No. Okay, well, thank you, Ruben Pulido, and he suffers threats for denouncing illegal immigration. Like us, they have shut down his channels, and we need to support him. And thank you for your bravery, and thanks to all of you who are denouncing a corrupt NGO like those of Open Art, all this rubbish, which are funded by the left and even use illegal immigration to line their pockets and then go around giving lessons in hypocrisy with Jordi Eol at the forefront. You are all scoundrels, thieves, and we are against you. And you are promoted by Open Society, George Soros, Alex Soros, and company. We are going to the commercials, but don't forget, as part of this program, the Right News Show, Real America's Voice in Spanish, the show that those leftist bastards hate the most.
Yikes, leaky refrigerator coil card. Oh no. But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered home system. Don't worry, be warranty.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better online protection with NordVPN. It will encrypt your online traffic, protect you from malware, phishing, and stop annoying ads. Get NordVPN now.
Imagine this banana is a burner less lethal launcher, capable of shooting rock-hard kinetic and tear gas mixed with pepper chemical irritants.
The ammo can incapacitate an attacker from 60 feet away without causing death.
This Byrna less lethal launcher is legal in all 50 states. No permits required.
Over 600,000 Byrna pistol launchers have been sold to government agencies, law enforcement agencies, and to private citizens.
Do you want to know what the Byrna less lethal launcher looks like? Visit Byrna.com.
This is Fubo. It's a better way to watch ESPN and other top sports networks. Plus, get coverage of your local teams all year long. Start watching at FuboTV.com.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
We see the advertisement for the brand new show, the show most hated by leftists. And today we are talking about many issues affecting the Hispanic community. And Spain concerns us. We are with Javier Garcia Isaac, director of the most listened to radio now on social media, Informa Radio, the radio that tells the truth. How are you, Javier? How are things in Spain with the Red Terror, with Sanchez assaulting the ETA group? And I wanted to ask you, and with the king now, well, he's been Sanchez's accomplice for I don't know how long, and that has really angered the Americans. How would you define the role of King Felipe VI attacking Trump, being complicit with the social communist government, and laughing the other day when there was an accident with more than 40 dead? Tell me.
Well, notice that there is a disconnect between the royal house and the population. You know that royal families, the king at one time, were very popular figures. Well, what was almost unthinkable has happened, a real disconnection. The king does not set foot on the street. The king is very detached from reality, and people see him as what he is, a whitewasher of socialism, of Sanchez's corrupt government. The latest speeches of the monarch, far from being disappointing, have gone even further. He is another tool of globalism, a whitewasher of Sanchez's corruption. He has trivialized the Alamos accident with 45 dead. It has been a series of blunders. The other day in Brussels, for the 40th anniversary of Spain's entry into the European Economic Community, now the European Union, he delivered a speech in favor of globalism, attacking Donald Trump, speaking in insulting tones. That is to say, the king is no longer seen as the king of all Spaniards. He's seen as just another piece of Sanchismo. Socialism has colonized all the institutions, and the royal house, the monarchy, the institution, has allowed itself to be tainted. Now, if you go down the street and conduct a survey, there is a huge detachment The pity is that in Spain there is no Third Republic because of the nostalgics of the Second Republic who caused so much harm. But more and more people are questioning why we want this institution, why we want this king who is just another tool of Sanchismo along with his wife. There is a total detachment. And above all, it is very poorly regarded because before the king was considered a more or less neutral figure, a figure that guaranteed the unity of Spain. But far from that, he has devoted himself body and soul to Sanchismo and the Socialist Party. And furthermore, he has been completely wrong because he thinks that with these gestures, the left will forgive him. He is gravely mistaken. The institution has lost the respect of the people. That is the conclusion I draw from what is happening. That is to say, it was unheard of. They said the king never got involved in politics. He has gotten involved, but also to defend the wrongdoers. Far from defending the unity of Spain, far from denouncing what is happening. At Christmas, we saw in his message not a single allusion to the widespread corruption that invades absolutely everything. That's why I say there is a detachment. I do not know who is advising the monarchy at this moment, His Majesty, but he has lost all respect from the citizens, from the person on the street, from the people, ultimately, right? And he has become just another tool of this corrupt regime that is Sanchismo, which has colonized all the institutions, Javier, absolutely all of them.
Vox is rising like foam in elections in Aragon.
They always tell you, right, the polls. No, the option is the Popular Party. Vox will have to support, but it's impossible for Vox to overtake the PP in the coming months and general elections. The feeling I have in the face of Europe's collapse, Spain's collapse, massive immigration, the Popular Party's complexes is that, yeah, we might see a surprise, right?
Man, it's just that, look, the elections in Aragon are on the 8th. They're already here, right? Just as we are broadcasting this program now, but we also have elections in Portugal, where the Portuguese Popular Party has asked for votes for the socialists. I think the Popular Party in Spain needs to shed those complexes because they will end up being consumed by them. If you want to be someone, now the trendy party, and which I believe is here to stay, which is what I think the Popular Party hasn't realized, is that Vox is here to stay. If they do not realize the new political reality, that bipartisanship, that dividing institutions between the PP and PSOE is over. So the Partido Popular would do well to realize the new reality, because if the leadership of the Partido Popular does not do it, their voters will end up doing it, Javier. And in fact, that is the reason why Vox goes one way and bipartisanship goes another. And we increasingly see that Vox is more appreciated on the street. Now, with this regularization, I was listening to you with the magnificent Ruben Pulido. Of course, this frightens the most disadvantaged classes. More and more, Vox steals votes, in quotes, from the left, from those who need it most, because they are the ones most harmed by these regularizations. And the Popular Party truly, I think, is not understanding the political reality of what is happening in Spain.
There are many Hispanic entrepreneurs and many Argentinians who idolize Spain because it's beautiful when you visit, who don't realize the political reality. Tell them about your experience right now in Spain, if it's possible to make money because the tax authorities pursue you, Social Security pursues you. It's super expensive to live in Madrid, and obviously if you earn money in America, you're a millionaire. You can buy Barros Salamanca, but tell them what the situation is like for someone coming from abroad to Madrid without much cash, without much money. What they face? That it becomes an Argentina with my friend Milei?
Well, right now, coming to Spain, unfortunately, is a real disaster. The voracity of the Ministry of Finance, especially for all those who come, for all of us who are already here, except if they do not belong to the PSOE, is tremendous. Spain, the Ministry of Finance, is breaking revenue records. It doesn't let the entrepreneur breathe. You can't move, but not just the entrepreneur, the worker. Everything is collapsed. Well, even the private healthcare is collapsed because of the collapse of public healthcare. Because, of course, people leave as soon as they can. They keep leaving and end up going to public healthcare, education. Everything in Spain, unfortunately, is a real disaster. The truth is that it is unfortunate to see that Spain right now, with this socialist government, is not by any means the best country to invest in. Quite the opposite. And it's a shame, right? Because Spain has a lot of potential, but Spain needs to get out of this dark tunnel that Sanchismo and the veracity of the Ministry of Finance have become. The Treasury gives no respite. We have to maintain their nonsense. We have to maintain their setups. And for that, those of us who are here working day by day are the ones who pay for it.
They are after everything the entrepreneur had.
You were a personal friend of Jose Antonio Cas. He has deservedly won the elections in Chile. He will take office in a few weeks. In mid-March, we will be there. Your wife is very much related, connected with Chile. So what is being experienced in the country now, according to this survey?
Well, there's an explosion of joy because Boric Smith has left the country in shambles, just like Spain is here. So there's a lot of excitement. What happens is that if you notice the fires that Chile has been subjected to in recent days, there are many suspicions that the left might be involved because they want to leave the country devastated for Cas to rebuild, but of course, making it much more difficult for him to start. But right now, Chile is experiencing a period of hope. They are wishing that Boric was just a bad dream and are living with a lot of hope and a lot of optimism, right? Because I think Jose Antonio is a great guy, a guy who has very clear ideas, like Javier Milei, and who can do a great job. The Chilean people are expectant after 4 years of nightmare. Be careful. They are bankrupt. Right now, Chile is ruined. What they have left for Cast, it's going to be terrifying what he has to do. And of course, when it's your turn to govern, when you have empty coffers, it's unpopular. But this is the role that Jose Antonio Cast has to live with after the disastrous legacy he will inherit from the disastrous Boric, right?
And then also, Chile has, yes.
How is the Milei phenomenon seen now in Spain after winning the elections? How is there still a lot of excitement in Spain about the president?
Well, there is a lot of furor, just like it happened with Cast, with Milei. It is already settled. Milei right now is a reference in the sense that no matter how badly things have gone, Milei has brought back hope, but not just hope. Here he is being highly valued, even though the left wants to point out his achievements and marriage right now. Milei is a beacon, isn't he? It's hard to believe that a few years ago we could say this, that we wish we had a Milei in Spain to fix the dire situation this country is experiencing. That's why I say that Milei is being highly valued in Spain and is a reference at this moment.
And last question, the anti-immigration agents, the ICE operations in the United States are opening fire. They are taking down street terrorists. We are seeing how in Spain the street terrorists hit us, attack us, insult the police, throw bullets at their heads and nothing. Instead, those who defend freedom of expression are taken into custody and those who go against the corrupt government. Do you understand that ICE agents are opening fire on street terrorists who are trying to attack their lives? I mean...
Well, you see these street activists from the left who are armed, the one who was carrying a gun. I mean, hey, the law enforcement officer stops you and you have to stop. And you see what is happening and how it is being magnified. And that's what's happening. The reaction of the police is the logical reaction if you want to control a country and if you want to bring order to it. So don't think that this is being seen negatively here, despite the manipulation we are experiencing in Spain with these events. On the contrary, I believe the police are acting appropriately, especially when you see that a guy goes to a demonstration and carries and bears a weapon. And then we see that they were left-wing activists.
Let's defend the LAI's agents. Thank you, Trump administration, for expelling illegal migrants, many of them with criminal records. And thank you for doing it in Minneapolis, in Washington, in Detroit, and in many cities. Thank you for establishing law and order from the Hispanic community. That's how we want it. And by the way, on February 10th, Hispanic Gala, completely sold out at Mar-a-Lago with my partner Tony Delgado and Gabby. We are going to make history. And with Andres, we are America's Voice Espanol, will be there. The program that the leftists hate the most, The Riney Show. Share it because we tell you the truth without nuances, without complexes, calling things by their name. We are fed up with Soros. We are fed up with the communists. We are fed up with the Democrats and the crappy media like Univision. Telemundo, and CNN en español, who lied to the operation by criminalizing our beloved LAI's agents, who do what they have to do, open fire to defend themselves.
And if not, let those street terrorists stay playing with their children or go to work already. A big hug. Next Sunday more, 8 in the evening, Miami time. A big hug. Bye.
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America, but every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi. I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
President Trump ended the nightmare for almost all January 6 defendants when he delivered on his promise to pardon those who suffered through our two-tiered system of justice. But there are still 12 January 6 defendants whose fights are far from over. These J6ers still face overwhelming legal battles. Scan the QR code now or visit j6support.com to help stand in the gap push for pardons for these patriots. Many have lost their jobs, homes, and life savings due to prolonged incarceration, and even though they've had their sentences commuted, they still cannot vote, possess firearms, receive any military pensions and retirement benefits, obtain health care coverage for themselves and their families, or secure employment. Stand in the Gap is renewing our Justice Restoration Fund to advocate for full pardons for these patriots. Please visit j6support.com or scan the QR code to support our fight for justice for these January 6 defendants. Your gift today helps us partner with reputable attorneys and legal advisors to ensure they have a fair chance at winning their cases and having their rights restored. Please donate today to let these J6ers know that they are not forgotten. Scan the QR code or visit j6support.com